and welcome to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and as always, thanks so much for being here. I hope you enjoy the show. Well, we're going to highlight a fabulous theater called DramaWorks Theater Company, which is based in Old Saybrook, Connecticut, and Ed Wilhelms, the founder and artistic director, is my guest today. And Ed, thanks so much for being here. Such a pleasure.
It's always great to be here.
Now, you were here last year.
Right.
I wanted you to come back this year to update the viewer as to how you're doing, how the theater's doing, what's happening. We're in 2022. We'll talk about 23, 24. But first off, let's refresh the viewer's memory of you. Talk about yourself. Tell us about your history, your background. Do I have an hour?
All right, my history. Well, I do go back a ways. I'm old, so I go back a ways. But I actually started out as an actor. I really wanted to be a singer. So it was acting, it was singing, it was whatever. But I really kind of settled on acting, and I got a job in a little summer stock theater on Long Island as a stage manager. My English teacher, was also the high school acting coach, asked me if I would like to do that for the summer, help him. And I said, sure. Had no idea what a stage manager was, so he told me, and I went. The show was Wizard of Oz, and the Tin Man quit. So we got another Tin Man. And his mother came into the theater and dragged him out. Apparently he didn't tell her that he was going to be an actor. So at any rate, he turned to me and said, we're 2 weeks away from showtime. You're now the Tin Man. And back in those days, the costume was made out of metal. A lot of it was made out of metal. This was during the summer. It was murder. I wound up staying there and was in the chorus of a bunch of other shows that they were doing. So then after that, I actually had an opportunity to go to C.W. Post College on an acting scholarship, which my teacher helped me with. And we thought about it, and I decided that I really wanted to study in New York with the people that were actually doing it for a living. So at that time, the American Theater Wing had a great school, and I went there, fortunately. And from there, I went to the Cape Playhouse on Cape Cod and spent the summer there with 5 other actors that were lucky enough to pass an audition to get there. And then I stayed there and did a lot of local theater for about 7 years. And then all of a sudden I realized I had to raise 7 kids. I mean, 2 kids.
7?
No, 2 kids of my own. And so I stopped until somebody talked me into doing a show. I think it was about 1980, 81 or 82, as I remember. And I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to get back into it. But I did it. And that was love. And I don't remember the theater company, but we wound up doing that as a live performance on Boston Public Television, which was really a thrill. I have another story about that, but I won't, it takes too long, how I got locked out of the theater. It's stupid me. So at any rate, so, and then I moved to Connecticut and did a bunch of local theater. There was a group in Guilford. And I met a director there whose job, what he did for a living, was to make television commercials. So then I found myself doing a couple of national television commercials for a toy company, which they wanted me to be their spokesperson. You know how they have, what's her name, do ATT, and another woman doing the insurance company, which we won't mention. I shouldn't have mentioned ATT. But, and I said, great, okay, count me in. You know, it was a great gig. And then they went bankrupt. Okay, so that's too bad. And then I moved to, and then I had a little office in Old Saybrook where I did some workshops, acting classes and workshops. Started writing a play, which I'm finishing, that we may do next year at the theater. And then moved to Florida for 4 years. Started ACT Studio Theater there, which is still going on. It's still prospering, and they're doing great work. And we started out doing 5 shows a year, which the first year we planned on 5, wound up doing 7. And they're now doing 8 or 10. And they're thinking about expanding. So I'm happy to see that. And I came back and looked for a place where I could have another theater, and found this space in Old Saybrook, which was a flex space, warehouse space. It was disgusting, but it was perfect for a theater. So we cleaned it up and made it a theater. And you wouldn't know what it was before.
Did you decide along the way that you wanted to leave being an actor and get into the other side of the stage?
Yes. It actually was, I think it was one show that actually convinced me to do that, although I had acted beyond that point. But it was a show that I was in where, unfortunately, the director had to take a role because we lost somebody in the cast. And you can never really do that. You can't serve 2 masters. You have to act or you have to direct. And I noticed in my head, that there was a lot being missed. There was a lot of things that could happen that weren't happening because he was split. And that kind of convinced me that, well, if I'm seeing this, maybe there's something to this directing thing. Maybe I should really give it some consideration. So I did. And so I kind of gleaned myself off of acting. Although I'm not against it, certainly. You never know.
From an actor to a director, was there any kind of education? Would you recommend education to move into being an actor, into being a director, or can you just find your way by doing it?
A lot of folks are under the impression that you can just start doing it, and that's okay. You know, you can just start doing it. But you have to have some sort of guidance, some sort of training, if you will, and it doesn't necessarily have to be formal training. Although if you really want to be an actor, there's one place to go, and that's New York, and that's where you study. You don't study in Boston, you don't go to college, you don't go and you study with the people that are doing it for a living. I say that because I was lucky enough to be able to do that. And after you get your training, then you just have to work. Always go to auditions, constantly trying to work. And you have to work with caring people, good people, people you can trust, people that know what they're doing. That's how you be an actor. There's a lot of calling yourself an actor. I'm an actor. Really? Okay. Show me, you know.
Are you happier that you made the transition from being an actor to a director to a theater owner now? I mean...
Well, being a theater owner is a little different from those other two because now it's a business.
Yeah.
So, but it's a good business and it's an arts business. So there's a huge difference between that and selling pizza, you know. So, because you're not necessarily worried about, my daughter hates me when I say this, but I don't care about the money. I care about telling good stories. I care about the product. I care about people coming in, leaving and talking about what they saw for 2 days. Or coming in, laughing hysterically, and forgetting the world we live in for an hour and a half to 2 hours. So that comes first. And hopefully that brings in the money to pay the bills. If it does, that's wonderful.
Tell us about the history of DramaWorks. What made you decide to do it? How did it come about?
Well, I decided to do it because I wanted to work. The theater in Florida came about because I was directing at a couple of different theaters in the area. And the quality was okay, but the kind of plays that they were producing were really geared to the snowbirder. They weren't geared to the local population that was really there full-time dying to see good theater, for example, where I was, which was in Stuart, Florida, which is on the East Coast, like right in the middle. You had Miami that was doing great theater, but nobody's driving to Miami for 3 hours to go see a play. So we started producing, to go back, the last play that I directed at this wonderful big theater staff, it was great. They produced a play that was written for high school. And I said, it's not really what I'm looking to direct. And why would you produce a play written for high school for an adult audience? Well, they like it. It's funny. They laugh. Okay, that's great. So I went across the street and found a space and made a theater and opened with David Mamet's Speed the Plow. Mamet. It was great. People loved it. So that's what I do.
The website. When people visit the website, what will they find?
They're going to find pictures. Everybody likes pictures. That's on the front page. They're going to see auditions, which we are all done for this year. Next year there'll be auditions. What we'll do is we're actually going to have a couple of different auditions. We're going to have auditions for probably the first 3 plays. But we'll also have auditions looking for the rest of the season. We won't make any final decisions on actors, but we probably will make final decisions on the plays. In other words, if I have a play that I'd like to do that has 5 women, age 40 to 65, and I have a casting call and I get no women in that age range, then I'm not doing the play. So the people that come will help us decide what plays we're doing, as opposed to the other way around. This is the play, these are the play. I'm going to start with what we'd like to do. So there'll be auditions. They can get a little directions on how to get to the place, which is, as you said, could be a little difficult. It isn't difficult. It's
Once
easy.
you get there, you're fine.
No, it's on the website. It's easy. It's just that, remember, that part is Route 1 there.
Yes.
You're
right.
Going to Old Lyme. It's Route 1. What else? Workshops we're not doing this year. We may do it next year. What else? That's it.
Well, let's hold that thought. I'm Deborah Gilbert. You are tuned into Arts and Entertainment. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Information is power, especially in times of uncertainty.
In the age of 24/7 breaking news headlines, viral tweets, and social media rumors, we all need to take extra steps to verify information before accepting and sharing what we read online.
Whether inaccurate information is purposely posted to deceive or defraud individuals or shared unknowingly by people who believe it's true, misinformation can be dangerous.
Is there a vaccine?
Are certain blood types immune?
Are additional stimulus checks coming?
When will we open back up?
Questions are expected,
And they deserve accurate answers.
We need you to rely on information from official sources and credible subject matter experts.
For both Connecticut-specific information and federal resources, visit ct.gov/coronavirus.
And welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host. And again, as always, thanks so much for being here. Well, we're talking about DramaWorks, which is located in Old Saybrook, Connecticut, and Ed Wilhelms continues to be my guest. And Ed, what I wanted to do is give you a moment to talk about your calendar. We're in 2022. What does the rest of 2022 look like? Have you looked into 2023, 24? Have you thought about what plays you want to do?
Yes.
Would you like to share with the audience anything
You
that's
hate
coming
that.
up? No. The yes/no questions are kind of scary.
Okay, I actually have this.
Yeah.
The Works in Progress, which is July 22nd and 23rd. So Works in Progress is in association with the writers group that just recently got started in Old Saybrook. And it is 3 playwrights that are presenting a reading of their some of their new works, one-act plays. It's important to a playwright to have folks read their plays so they hear what it sounds like, and they can get some kind of reaction by an actor who's reading it. Usually that's as far as it goes. So there's actor response and back and forth with the playwrights. This will include the audience, however. So the audience will give feedbacks to the playwrights, and that will help the playwright actually hear from an audience what their opinions are. And they may like it, they may not like it. We did it last year with a fellow who had a one-act play, and the first comment from an audience member was it was too long, which is what I told him to begin with, you know. But so it's interesting how an audience can give professional advice, if you will, and he changed it based on that person because he didn't believe me. So that'll be interesting, and it's $10 off our regular price, so
Okay.
that'll help too. Then we have Magpie. Magpie is a new play written by Laura Toma, who lives in, I believe, in Guilford. And it's a world premiere for her. It's the first time that this play will be presented in front of an audience, and it's a full-length play. And it's a story about a young lady who has not a troubled relationship with her mother, but they don't communicate that well, which happens sometimes. And she wants to know about her father. She never knew her father, so it's that journey. It's an interesting play. I liked it very much when I read it, and I said, yeah, sure, we'll do it. Let's do it. So we're happy to present that.
Good for Laura.
And good for Laura,
Yeah.
And then we have Painting Churches, which is the story of an older couple that are moving from Boston to Cape Cod. And again, we have a daughter and they're at odds. The whole family's at odds, but she's an artist, so they invite her to come and help them pack and move. And she paints their portrait, and their name is Church. That's why we get Painting Churches. And during the process of her painting their portrait together, they're solving whatever difficulties they have. It's an interesting play. It's light. It's a drama, but it's a light drama. It's nothing very heavy. It's enjoyable. People will like it. And then we have The Housekeeper. Hilarious. I love The Housekeeper. So it's with Nancy and David Cardone. and they were in Bakersfield, Miss, last year. Very funny. They're a wonderful couple, very talented. And I think about the play, I laugh. So Manley Carstairs is this guy's name, and he hires a housekeeper. And he lives in an old Victorian house. He gets a hold of an agency. They send this woman over. So he hires her. She says, "Oh, let me get my stuff." She wheels in a cart, you know, a shopping cart. She's got everything in there. Clearly, she has no place to live. Well, now she does. So it's very funny. She refuses to do any work. She accuses him of lech, you know, being a lech. And she really degrades his work. He's a writer. This stinks. What, you know, she makes his life a living hell, and she won't get out, which in the end is a very good thing. It's a great show. It's very funny.
So that is 2022,
That's
23. That's this year.
That's this year.
Okay. Have you thought about 2023?
Yes.
Any thoughts as to what you're going to do yet?
Yeah, I think we're going to lighten it up a little bit, and instead of having two comedies, we may have three. I think we're going to start with. I think, with Christmas on Mars. I started reading this play because I thought it'd be, if we could have a holiday themed show, that I would probably like to. We didn't do it last year. I'd like to do it this year, but something a little bit different. Other folks are doing the Christmas carols and all that, and I wanted to do something a little bit lighter. So I started reading this, but we don't have enough time to do it for this Christmas season, holiday season. So we're probably going to do it in January, the beginning of January. It's close enough. My apologies, but it's close enough. It's hilarious. So this guy, this young married guy, finds an apartment for him and his wife. And he shows it to her, not knowing he's already decided that he's taken it, signed the lease already. Borrowing the money from his mother-in-law. He has a roommate who is very upset that he's moving. The wife is pregnant, announces this in front of the roommate who shows up, and the mother who shows up. And so the mother decides she's going to move in, the roommate decides he's going to move in. He's going to take care of the baby. I mean, it's very funny. I know from the description, but I don't want to give too much away.
Sounds good.
But it's very funny. So we've got that, and then we have, I'm committed to a play called Walk in the Woods by Lee Blessing. He's a great writer, very prolific British. And it's the story of, and I'm sure it's based on actual events, a Russian and an American negotiators, arms negotiators. And they're together to talk about the proliferation of weapons, of nuclear weapons, and trying to come up with a treaty. And the Russian, who's done this for, you know, years and years, is dealing with a new American who hasn't done it before. So the American's he's obviously uptight. The Russian is like laid back. Yeah, have a vodka, relax. So he says, look, let's go for a walk in the woods. Let's get away from all these people, get away from the press. Let's go for a walk in the woods. They go for a walk in the woods, and they negotiate. It's a drama. It's got a lot of funny stuff in it, however. And in the end, I'm not telling you.
Okay.
So that's 2, and then I'm reading another 8.
Okay.
The Children, which is a wonderful British play. I tried to get the rights once, couldn't get it. We'll see if I can get it this time. Love Drunk, Romulus Lindley is a wonderful play, drama. So I'm reading 8 plays, 10 plays.
Well, we are starting to run out of time. Any closing thoughts for the viewers? Come to DramaWorks.
That's what I come, please.
Yes.
Actually, this weekend, well, you're going to show this and show
It's going to
this.
be in 2 weeks,
Yeah, oh,
so we'll miss it.
yes.
But come in general.
Come in general. Check the website. Oh, that's another thing on the website. Check that. Upcoming shows.
Yes.
It's probably the most important, other than donate.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming. It's been a pleasure to have you.
It's been a pleasure to be here.
And I can't
Thanks.
wait to come see a show.
Yeah, you're coming Saturday.
I am coming Saturday.
Okay.
And you've been tuned in to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert. So glad to have you. And in case you think you might be a great guest or if you'd like to volunteer on the show, I'd love to have you. Please contact me at artsandentertainment@mail.com. Have a super day. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you next time.